Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. Good discussion tonight. We're talking about a new initiative, a new thing that is out there, this Tennessee Justice Bus. And we have a picture of it, and it's going all over the state. It just started operating in June, and it's already made a couple of stops. It's going to make a lot more stops, and it basically is a law office on wheels. It'll pull up at a county fair or at a library. So you go to libraries, wherever, and then there's a lawyer in there, hopefully, and they can help answer whatever civil sort of questions you have. We're not talking criminal, civil stuff. And in Tennessee, with criminal, you would get appointed a lawyer in court if there's some sort of crime that you have been charged with. But with civil, that's not the case. And I bet there are a lot of judges that just kind of have some heartbreaking stories where people are fighting eviction or fighting this or that. They don't have an attorney, and they make all kinds of mistakes, right? And is that kind of one of the reasons to bring this on?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then in Tennessee, in our sort of small claims court, our small claims is under $25,000, which is a really high threshold. So you're talking about your renters, credit cards were just talked about, all sorts of things. And that's where a lot of our folks are going that don't have lawyers. And sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you and give you just, the next 2 or 3 things that you can do to improve your situation. You may not even have a legal recourse, but at least you know that now, and you can sort of let your brain let go of whatever that issue is. So yes, we are there to help people who don't have right to that appointed attorney and are trying to navigate the system alone and just really need somebody to listen to them for a few minutes.
Where are you going? I think we asked this, but where are you going, and how can you find out where it's going to be?
So next week we're taking a tour of East Tennessee. We'll be in Sullivan County at a Family Justice Center in Blountville. On the 9th, we'll be at the Public Defender's Office on the 10th, and we will be at the American Job Center on the 11th in Knoxville. And then after we take our Tennessee tour, we'll head to Obion County for the fair. In September, we're going to be doing Job Center events in McNairy and Hardeman counties. We've got a lot at the pipeline. Some of what's in the pipeline is not official yet, but really looking forward to making those events official and on our calendar. We're launching a new website, and that website will have a calendar of events, and you can see where the Justice Bus is going. Until then, folks can email tnjusticebus@tncourts.gov, and we'd be happy to kind of let you know when the bus is going to be in your area.
Great. Okay, great. Let's go to the phones here. Let's go to Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. I was wanting to know when they come to Murfreesboro, where do they be located, and when will they be back to Murfreesboro?
Great. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you.
So I don't think we have another Murfreesboro event yet because we just went there. But that said, we are also in the process of spreading the word to other organizations like State Library and Archives and some of their trusted community partners. So we hope and expect that once we inform more of our stakeholders about it, that we'll be able to come to more communities. And it's easy for us to come to the Middle Tennessee area. We're based in Nashville. So we hope to be able to hit up all of the surrounding counties pretty quickly. So we don't have anything yet in Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, but I expect that we will be back there fairly soon. You can also follow us on social media. It's at @TNJusticeBus. So we have Facebook, Twitter, all the things, but it's a good way to just sort of figure out what we have already confirmed and where you can find us.
When you went last time, where were you in Rutherford County? Do you remember?
We've been to the Day Reporting Center in Murfreesboro, and then we had an expungement clinic at Parkway Baptist Church in Smyrna as well.
Okay. And Elizabeth, who lives there, she could follow what you just said. Again, what could she do quickly? What could she do to keep an eye on when you may reschedule something or schedule something for Smyrna to come or for Murfreesboro to come back?
Yeah. Follow us on social media at TNJusticeBus. Send an email to tnjusticebus@tncourts.gov.
At tncourts.gov.
That's correct.
Okay.
More than one court.
Yeah.
Courts.
Courts.
Plural.
tncourts.gov.
Yes.
Okay.
We will have a website, and it's going to be beautiful, and I'll have a calendar on there too, and that'll probably be easier once we get that launched.
Yeah,
So.
which we expect to do in late August, early September.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, I want Elizabeth to find it. Elizabeth, thank you for calling. All right. This, again, is set up by Tennessee State Courts. That's what I have here. But it's the... Explain again
Sure.
where you all are, what it is you're doing, how this was set up, and why it's so important to, the organization that you both work with.
Sure. So the Tennessee Supreme Court has an administrative office, and that's where we work for. And we are in the division called Access, Innovation, and Community Engagement. And we fall under the Access to Justice, which is what we've been talking about, helping people with civil legal problems have access to legal resources when they can't afford a lawyer. And so the Tennessee Supreme Court, they have an Access to Justice Commission, and that's made up of 10 individuals from across the state, and we staff it and provide counsel to it. We're both lawyers, and we look at ways that we can connect stakeholders, provide these resources. There's just two of us, so we know we're not going to be able to help over 1 million people, but we can look at ways we can bring in technology to help people. We can look at ways we connect with trusted community sources like libraries or churches and faith-based institutions. So the Access to Justice Commission learned about the Justice Bus model in 2019, and since then have just been trying to strategically find ways to fund it. And we were lucky to be able, again, to get a grant to buy it, and outfitting it to be an office was the most expensive part. It was not the vehicle itself, but and so we were able to get it out on the road, because we knew, and we found, and we hope that it's sort of like, if you build it, they will come. We just needed to get it out there so we could begin helping people.
And it's so interesting, Minnesota has 5, you
Right.
said. So is there a plan or a hope to have more?
Oh yeah, Tennessee, as you know, is a long state, so it would be wonderful to have at least one in every grand division, so you're not, burning up miles down I-40. But we knew we needed to get one out. Our office is based in Nashville. We are a statewide, office, but so right now it lives in Nashville. But that is our goal: is to be able to buy more, and then be able to find ways to fund other attorneys and people who could man those and get them out in the communities, because right now it's a little bit at the mercy of our schedules, and we don't want to get in our own way.
And how much do judges really want this?
We can't ever speak for judges.
That's right.
But going back to the judges, especially when they have a lot of self-represented people in their courtrooms, and they see folks who, if they just had a little bit of advice, could have a totally different outcome, or even a better experience with the justice system. The outcome may not be any different, but people shouldn't leave court thinking that they weren't heard. And so I hope, and we hope, that court clerks and other judges, community resources will be like, what, the Justice Bus is coming here next week, let's share it with our network, so a lot of these people that come into our office really needing some help would be able to get some. And it's just right outside of the library, outside of the courthouse, outside of a church. It's right there.
And you can't speak for judges, but what do you think about that question? How much do judges want this?
I think if I were a judge, I would I would really want pro se litigants in my court to be well informed and to know at least a little bit about kind of the law in their case, and then potential outcomes. I think a little would go a long way in a lot of these courts. So,
because I read somewhere where people show up and they're in maybe the wrong court, right? They've waited a long time
Hours.
to be before a judge, and then all of a sudden all the judge says is, well,
You're in the wrong place.
I can't do anything with this.
Yep.
And that's when they feel, I'm sure the judge isn't happy with that, but I'm sure the person is really not happy with
Right.
it. Right?
Yeah.
maybe they've paid filing fees to file that case in the wrong court. And if they could have just talked to a lawyer, we could, avoid that and kind of set people on the right track.
Wow. All right, so you've kind of given us a lot about this.
Right.
We have maybe a few minutes left here. What are some other things we'll see out of your office, or that your office is doing? What else do people, I don't think people know a ton about your office, but what do you want people to know about it? And just kind of let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. For the access to justice, we really view ourselves as sort of the connector. Again, we know the need, but we also know that we can't be in every single county and know exactly what everybody is. But we know that people trust their trusted community resources. So why don't we reach out to faith-based groups and connect them with lawyers, and then let's connect them with social service providers, and let's have somewhere where people can go and maybe it's at your church or at your local community center, someplace you trust, someplace that's neutral. We have a Tennessee Faith and Justice Alliance that Savannah oversees. I'll let her talk a little bit about that. But again, it's just finding your where people go when they're in times of distress, and how can you equip those people to get them to civil legal help. But I'll let Savannah talk about the Faith and Justice Alliance.
And I think something that's really cool about our office is that we're given, we have the opportunity to be creative about meeting some of the civil legal needs that folks have. I think to Anne-Louise's point, the idea behind the Justice Bus is to meet people where they are, and that's the idea behind the Tennessee Faith and Justice Alliance too. A lot of people go to their faith-based communities when they're in a time of crisis. A lot of times, that may have nothing to do with the law, and wonderful. That's one problem we don't have to solve.
Right.
But what we would love to have happen is when those folks go to their faith communities, for those faith communities to have the resources and the training to know where to send these folks. Is this a legal issue? We do a lot of issue spotting training, so that faith communities know when it is a legal issue, and they know who to call when they spot that legal issue.
So you're doing training, like you're doing training for ministers, I guess?
Yes.
Wow. So how does that work? How would they just contact you, and it's like once a month, or how often? Is it 1 hour, like one program, or is it a whole? Like how does that work?
It'll depend. We do a lot of statewide trainings that we encourage local faith groups to tune into. We'll do them online, we'll do them in person. Again, meeting folks where they're at. And I think that something that's important is, there are a lot of different faith-based communities all across the state. They look different. Rural, metropolitan, it's very, very different. So something that I think we try really hard to do is to go to folks locally and make sure that we understand the problems that they're encountering, and then tailor any kind of training we do to the issues that they're seeing. And we'll train congregations too. So if I go somewhere and they're saying, we're seeing a lot of housing issues, can you come and do a Know Your Rights training on housing with my congregation? We'll do that. So we really want to make sure that we're being helpful and meeting needs that people actually have.
I think churches are so important, and they're such an important part of the community, and they're underutilized in so many ways. I mean, people use them, but the government could reach people through them, and that's great. You're reaching out to them. And so is it working pretty well?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. It's really wonderful. Yeah. The bus, Parkway Baptist Church was a wonderful partner when we took the bus for that expungement clinic. Wonderful venue for a clinic, and really easy to partner with. It's just an example of some of the stuff that we do.
What do you want people to take away in our final 30 seconds? What do you want people to take away?
I would say my big thing would be to be proactive. There are a lot of really great attorneys, both legal aid and pro bono attorneys, this is their passion in life, is to help people with civil legal problems. That helpfortn.org. Please reach out to that. That can connect you with information. Reach out to TN Justice Bus at tncourts.gov, or follow us. I mean, we work with people all the time that, this is why they get up in the morning, is to try to help people just navigate the justice system a little bit easier.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Take a break. Be back right after this.